when all candles are bullish. So you have to wait for candles to form bearish or bullish, like whatever you want, right? You have to wait for candles to form in your direction so that you can say, okay, now I have some sort of confirmation that candles are going to move my way. Make sense? So just don't take opposite trades when the candles are moving. Like it looks good that you had a wick entry, but it's not going to happen often, right? It looks good for Instagram. It looks really good, but it's not going to happen often, trust me. All right, what do we have here? Always look for potential areas of destination. Yep, exactly. So this means is that when you have price moving down, right, and you're looking at a support to the left, so that's your destination, right? This means that once price is moving down, now you have the opportunity to maybe take a trade till that support. Because think about it, right? Now, there's someone out there who is trying to take buys when price is moving down. So more often than not, those buys are going to get stopped out because the momentum, because the momentum is bearish and we're moving down, right? So when you're looking to see that, okay, wait a minute, so if we're moving down and there's a support over here and there's strong bearish momentum, we are in New York and London overlap, there's a high chance that price is going to continue down to this support. Right? So what do? You jump to the smaller time frames and you start to see that, okay, now when price is moving down, it's probably going to do something like this and then start to move down. So you're looking for mini resistances to be formed maybe on the 30-minute or 15-minute to see that, okay, now if, like, you know, you can say that, okay, maybe if a resistance is being formed somewhere over here, and then you can say that, okay, now we can probably have a stop above this area because the trend is bearish and we're selling resistance in a bearish market. So there's a high chance that price is going to come down to this support. Makes sense? So that's what you say, okay, now we're trying to trade the trend. Because in the opposite spectrum, if you're trying to take buys, man, you're just counter trending right here when there's no confirmation. Right? So always look at it this way. And in the opposite way, when price is moving up, and you look left to see that, okay, there is some sort of a resistance here, and this is where price starts moving down. So there's a higher chance that price is going to continue moving up, and you look for the same things to happen, right? Sometimes price is going to do something like this, and will move up, right? So if you are not looking for confirmations, you're going to look at this area and say, okay, now we're consolidating, so we're going to move down. But eventually what's going to happen is price is going to spike up and move up to where it wants to go, and then maybe it's going to form some sort of a confirmation to move down, right? How many times has this happened that when price is moving up, you take a sell, you get stopped out, and then you look at the chart after 2 hours, and price has reached where it had to reach, and then it had fallen all the way down. This has probably happened a lot of times to a lot of people, right? It only happens because you did not wait for candles to move in your direction before taking the trade. Make sense? Makes sense. So it's always a probability that there's a higher probability that you will win a trade if you wait for candles to form in your direction. Now, what do big candles move in one direction? Oh, what do big candles moving in one direction mean? So this point means that, let's say that you come to the charts, right? You come to the charts, and what you see is that you had resistance and price is forming, and you have big candles moving, right? What does this mean? When you have big candles move and you missed that trade, that means those big candles were your trades, right? Most times what happens is that when we come to the New York session, we see big moves happen, right? These big moves happen in like London, like, you know, you'll have either like a huge bearish trend happen or you're going to have a huge bullish trend happen, right? What this means is that, okay, now these big moves happen, so maybe those were your trades. Those big candles are your trades. Small candles are not your trades. The small candles mean, like, you know, like there's less weakness. You have a candle like this, like, you know, like, what does this mean? Nothing. It's bullshit. You have a candle like this, nothing. So when you have candles forming like this, there's a high chance that there's going to be another candle that's probably going to form like this. So this big candle is going to be your move. So whenever you're looking at charts, whenever you're trying to identify moves, always look at the big candles and always ask yourself, okay, how could I have taken this big candle trade, right? Always ask yourself that. That's what I do all the time. Whenever I see big candles, like you need to get some sort of a rush that, okay, man, like, you know what, next time I'm probably going to catch this big candle move, because that's your money trade. These big candles are your money trades right over here. Because now when you have big candles and you wait for trades to run, then you can afford to keep a stop at break even. Because now you see, okay, now there's strong momentum, we have big candle moving, and the next candle is going to move down and this and that and whatever you get. So always look to see when you have big candles, how could you have taken the big candle moves? And if you miss the trades, that's totally fine, because you have missed the big candle move. So now what you're waiting for is to see that if price is going to form some sort of a support, and then you can turn around and say, okay, you know what, we have a support formed here because you have a bullish candles forming. So now probably the probability of price moving up is higher now, because we formed support after the strong move down, right? So big candles always mean that there was a huge push in the market, and that was the opportunity to make some money or to make some pips, whichever way you want to look at it as. And always look to see how could you have taken that trade. Because once you make notes of how you could have taken that trade, and when the opportunity happens next time, you're going to be ready. Trust me on this. With practice, you're going to be ready, and you're going to say, okay, you know what? I've seen this happen, and I'm going to take this trade now, because I've seen this happen and this fucking works. Right? So, and it's all about probabilities, you know, all about probabilities. Like, what's the probability that's going to happen more often than not? So let's go to the next point. So what to wait for once price reaches support resistance. We've talked about this numerous times. You're waiting for candles to form in your direction. If price reaches support, you're waiting for candles to form